What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. We're here again for another Friday Q&A, really just answering all your fantasy football questions here as we approach week 4 of the NFL season. And we're just going to chill, man. We're just chilling. We're hanging out. I appreciate you, Johnny, for being in here already, Cody being in here already. We're going to get to the questions. But yeah, like I said, man, we're going to chill a little bit. We're just going to hang out. It's going to be a very low-key type of vibe. We'll listen to some music in the background and just hang out and talk some football. So we'll just hop right into this. First question we have here is from Johnny Detroit. He says Debo or Higgins and a third. I think for this one, man, I'd just rather have Debo in Dynasty. I would rather have Debo in Dynasty. So he's definitely the choice for me. Johnny also says, is Crashy Rice, whatever you want to call him, worth a 25 first and a 26 second? I think he is. I would definitely have Rashi. Cody, Braylon Allen versus Denver at the flex or Greg Dortch versus Washington, 0.75 per reception. Feel like I already know the answer. You damn well know the answer. We are light in the Dortch, baby. If you watch the BDG start sits, he was my deep cut of the week, so I like the Dortch this week. Marcy, Komet or Andrews full PPR. I think we just got to keep riding, with Mark Andrews, unfortunately. It's going to be an up and down experience, but it feels like one of those big games are coming, and he's a guy that I'm just going to keep plugging into my lineup if I have him in my leagues right now. Abdul says, what up, gorgeous? What up, cutie to you? Smoochies, baby. Chris says, for Dynasty, should I try and move a Rich? And if yes, who for? I've already traded Herbert in 25 first for him in a 12-team Superflex Dynasty League. Should you try and move a Rich? I don't think you have to move a Rich. I think, he still has the upside that we thought he would have. Big arm, rushing upside, all the things that we still, wanted out of him. He's a developmental quarterback. That's kind of the deal with him. If you're going to trade him, I'm still viewing him as kind of like a top 8 type of fantasy quarterback. I think there's a conversation if you could maybe move A-Rich for Jaden Daniels, but I don't know if you can do that at this moment. So I think if you have A-Rich, I'm keeping him and just seeing what happens over the course of the year as he continues to develop. Brett Macy says, my boy, what up, dude? Rams House says Dynasty half PPR, full for tight end, Superflex 12-team start 10. Lineup is Allen, Burrow, Kyron, B-Rob, Lamb, Sun God, Fergie, Puka, DK, Higgins, Aubrey, all these other dudes. IDP said I traded my first and second in 25. Is there any moves you think I should try to make? That's always a question that's always damn, this is a deep question because what should you make? Let's just look at the lineup constructively. Allen, Burrow, I don't feel like, we really have a need to go upgrade the quarterback. Kyron, B-Rob, Lamb, Sun God, this is a team flex, man. It's a flex squad. You got a good team. I don't think I'm making any moves at the moment. I'm comfortable with what you got on the roster. And that might be, a cop-out to the question, but honestly, you're playing Sun God, Puka, Fergie, Lamb, Allen. It's a flex squad, bro. So, I don't think you need to make any moves. Abdul says, no AJB and Debo means I love Deontay to my wide receiver, too, with my second flex open. Am I right for starting Yoshi over Michael Pittman Jr. and Dortch? I don't think so. Yoshi, assuming, we are assuming that all of the Cincinnati options are going to be there. I think, unfortunately, between MPJ and Dortch, I still lean Michael Pittman Jr. Over Dortch this week, but Dortch, to me, feels like the safest of the plays, and that feels crazy to think that we would be saying that as we got into week 4. Shaka says, hey, would you trade away Moss, Amari Cooper, Dallas Goedert for Kittle and Hill? PPR redraft, do you think Hill's situation gets better? Moss, Cooper, Goddard for Kittle and Hill. To be honest, I think I do lean the Kittle and Hill side. I don't know how much better it gets short term, but I feel like Tua is going to be back this year. I do feel like he'll be back. And if you can afford to maybe, not have the best Tyreek Hill for another 2, 3, 4 weeks, then I think I would probably consider this type of move. Cruz says, what's up? What's up, man? Mark, this is a redraft full PPR question. Got hit with a lot of injuries. Do I start Bigsby or Justice Hill? I like Justice Hill more as a deep play this week than Tank Bigsby. Cody, Jordan Addison week is upon us. Damn right. And apparently, Jair Alexander has went into hiding. Not at practice today. He knew that Daddy Jefferson and Daddy Addison were on the way. So no more seatbelt from you, buddy. Brett Macy says, moved Leggett from waivers and Mahomes for Lamar. Redraft question, what you think? Well, I think Lamar is the most fantasy viable option in this. I love Mahomes. Obviously, Mahomes is the best player, but Lamar is just outscoring Mahomes. That's just the way it is. So, yeah, give me Leggett off of waivers and Mahomes. Give me Lamar. That's pretty easy for me. Dallin says, how did it feel to lose to the worst team in the fantasy league? Are you in last place? If so, every dog has its day. It's just the way that it goes. I'm banged up with injury, but we still trying to stay afloat. Marcy says, thanks for your help. JK or Najee and Zay Flowers or T. Higgins in the flex. Full PPR for both. Well, technically, I got a video sent to the group chat today, shout out Brett, that T. Higgins said if you have him in fantasy, don't play him this week. So I don't know what that means. We'll see. But honestly, if it's between these options, I think I'm going Najee and Zay Flowers this week in those two situations. Raphael says, should I trade Jefferson for Neighbors and Ayuk? Jefferson for Neighbors and Ayuk. My lineup is Burrow, James Cook, Akers, JJ, Garrett Wilson, Kelsey. I think yes. I would rather have the Neighbors and Ayuk side in my lineup each week than Jefferson. That sounds crazy. That hurt my heart. I think you probably saw it in my eyes. But I think I'd rather have the Neighbors and the Ayuk side. So, yeah, why not? Cruz says, would you trade away CD for Neighbors? If so, what else do you need on the Neighbors side to get the deal done? Yeah, I'd rather have CD than Neighbors still at this moment. What do I need thrown in on the Neighbors side in order to get the deal done? I'm assuming, Cruz, this is a redraft league. Probably a flex type of play. If we're talking Dynasty, which I'm not sure if we are talking Dynasty, I think there's a conversation where the Neighbors owner has to, at minimum, give you an early second. But if you're the Neighbors owner, I don't know why you make that deal, to be honest. Marvelo says, if Ken doesn't play, who's my RB2? Sharp, Dobb, or Rashad White? Sharp for me in this situation. No 1T. What receiver should I go after in a trade with Zay and Rashad as the package? Look, Rashad, his value is pretty much shot at the moment. Nobody really wants Rashad White with the Bucky Irving news. Now, the good news is that, I guess not good news, but for Rashad White, Bucky's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring, so maybe he has a decent week this week. If he does, he's definitely a guy that you should be selling. Zay and Rashad, put them together. What do you get? Maybe you can get a guy like Olave. Maybe you can get a guy like Ayuk. Maybe you can get a guy like a Drake London, maybe. That would be kind of the package that I think you would upgrade the receiver for if you're throwing Rashad in. But the reality is that Rashad just doesn't hold much weight in these trade negotiations at the moment. That's me. What are your expectations on Garrett Wilson? Do you think Adams is staying with the Raiders? Okay, so two questions here. What are my expectations on Garrett Wilson? Garrett Wilson has not lived up to the expectations to start the year. He has a tough 4-game stretch, probably another month of really bad game matchups for him, I think. Do you want to deal with another month of shit matchups from Garrett Wilson? Probably not. I think if I had Garrett Wilson on a roster right now, I'd be trying to sell. And honestly, I don't know what you can get for him at the moment. It's going to depend on your league, but it's going to turn around for him eventually. It's just going to be later in the second half of the year. So if you can buy, the 4 bad matchups that are coming up, or you can just hold him through the 4 bad matchups, it'll get better in the second half. But right now, it's just, he's got a gauntlet over the next month. Adams staying on the Raiders, though, it's not a chance. He's not staying. He won't finish the year as a Raider. I just don't believe it. He's hurt right now. He's missing games right now. Hurt or just not wanting to play. I don't know. Antonio Pierce said people made business decisions last week for themselves. I wonder if any of that was about Devontae Adams, who has been kind of making business decisions for himself for the last year and a half now. But let's move on to Drew. Drew says 12-team non-PPR redraft. Would you accept trade getting Cup, Zamir for Steele Adunze? You get Cup and Zamir for Steele and Adunze. I want the Cup and Zamir side, honestly. Seems like Cup's going to be back here in a couple weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, and then Cup should be back. So I think I'd rather just have Cup in the second half of the year than bet on a Adunze breakout, even though Adunze looks pretty good, but he just doesn't have the ceiling as a rookie that a guy like Cup will have. Andre, my guy, he says, is Wilson worth benching? Other receivers are Olave, Chase, Godwin, BTJ. Well, I would be playing Chase and Godwin for sure over Garrett Wilson this week. And if Olave plays, he did get injured today in practice. If he plays, I might even consider Olave over Garrett Wilson this week. But Chase and Godwin are for sure in my rankings higher than Wilson this week. Do I start Michael Wilson or Juwan Johnson? Juwan Johnson, the tight end. I think the way you spell Juwan makes me think it's Juwan Jennings. But between Michael Wilson and Juwan Jennings, it's going to be tough. I think keep an eye out on Debo's status, because if Debo does show up and play this week, Juwan Jennings is a guy that I'm not playing. I would probably rather play Michael Wilson if Debo and Kittle are on the field. But yeah, man, the 1 week Juwan Jennings, it might have just been the 1 week. JW Slasher says Waddle and Shakir or Marvin Harrison Jr. Give me Marvin Harrison Jr., man. That one's easy. Chris says in a 12-teamer or in general for Dynasty, is it even possible to buy Neighbors right now? I'm a Giants fan, or do I wait until his concussion status is up? Yeah, I mean, it's probably not even possible to buy Neighbors. If you drafted Neighbors in your rookie draft, I don't know why you would be selling. I don't know what you would be selling for. If you are selling, it's probably going to be like, you probably are wanting guys in the Jefferson, Lamb, Amon-Ra type of tier. Like, that's probably where you're at. So, yeah, it's probably not even that possible to buy Neighbors. But if you can, I'm willing to buy high on Neighbors, pretty much as high as, like, if we're talking about like Amon-Ra St. Brown or Malik Neighbors in Dynasty moving forward, I'm willing to send my Amon-Ra for Neighbors, to be honest. Like, that's just, I don't know. That's just the way that I see it at the moment. Where are we at? Abdul. Injuries are frying me right now. Same, dude. Pacheco, Debo, McBride, Puka went down. Trade Puka for AJB, and he immediately goes down. Hollywood won't play. Like, I need a break. Facts, dude. This shit sucks. Cody says, how does a George Kittle owner play this out on Sunday? I already have Ferguson. Thankfully, don't need to force him in my lineup. Yeah, if you have George Kittle, you're just waiting till the end. The good news is that you can probably still pick up a couple guys off of waiver wires and stream. I think Taysom Hill's a good tight end stream this week. Zach Ertz is always a good tight end stream. Guys like Mike Gesicki, I think, are fine. But if you're the George Kittle owner, I think if he's on the field, you plug him in the lineup. Luckily for you, you have Ferguson. So Ferguson, already had a pretty solid game for us. Diseased Kodak says, do I start Chase Brown, Roschon, or Javonte Williams? PPR, RB2, and Y. I don't want to play Javonte LMAO, but I don't know. Yeah, it's not going to be Chase Brown for me. It's between Roschon and Javonte, and to be honest, I wouldn't want to play Javonte either. He kind of feels like the safest play of the PPR guys. I don't know if I'm playing Roschon this week unless I absolutely have to. So unfortunately, I know you don't really want to play Javonte, but he's probably the guy you got to go with. Abdul says Jair Alexander is Justin Jefferson. He's a red zone merchant, but I won't get into that. Yeah, you love the safety help from Jair. That's me, says chill on my boy Jay Money. Hey, look, he went into hiding, bro. I want to see the matchup. It's a good matchup. I mean, I'm not going to talk. Jair's actually a really good corner, but yeah, man, it's rivalry week. You know how that goes. Cool Man says, would you rather have Drake and Bijan or Aaron Jones and Marv? Bijan has been disappointing, so I don't know how I feel trading for him. I mean, I think I would rather go with Drake and Bijan, but honestly, having two guys on the same team feels a little bit risky. So there's an argument for the Aaron Jones and Marv. Aaron Jones has been playing good, man. He's been playing really good, and Marv looks like a stud. So, you know what? Now that I think about it a little bit more, I might actually go the Aaron Jones and Marv side. Where are we at? Rams House says, Dynasty, full PPR, Superflex, start 11, 12 teams. Neither receivers team I need receivers. Team hasn't been great so far because of injuries and been unlucky. Should I try to move Myers, Dobbins, Curtis Samuel, or either Reed or what is this other? Or the Reed for either Reed or Ayuk. Okay. Let me read that one more time. Should I try and move Myers, Dobbins, Samuel for either Reed or Ayuk? Yeah, I mean, of course. I would much rather have the wide receivers in Dynasty of Jaden Reed or Brandon Ayuk. Abdul says, T said, huh? Yeah, dude, there's a video. T said, don't start me in fantasy this week. I don't know what that means, but whatever. RSG says, redraft, full PPR, pick 3. We got Deontay, JSN, and Hubbard. Full disclosure, I already have Dalton in my Superflex. Pick 3. You gave me 3 options, and you told me to pick 3, bro. So I guess all 3 of them? If you want me to pick 1, it's Deontay Johnson. Maybe you wanted me to pick 2. It'd be Deontay and JSN. Yeah, pick 3. I guess all 3 of them. Chris says, your idiot league mates question, is JL making the playoffs after having the worst luck for an 0-3 start I've ever seen? I don't know, man. Honestly, look, I'll be totally honest about the divisions. I fucking hate playing fantasy football with divisions. I hate divisions. We've removed divisions out of all of my leagues because stuff like that happens where JL has a really good team, you know, and because of the divisions, there's going to be bad teams that make the playoffs. I'm benefiting from the divisions right now, and I'm still anti-divisions. Now, I'm going to reap the benefits of it at the moment, but is JL going to make the playoffs? I hope not, because his team's good. He's got a good team, but I hope he doesn't make the playoffs just because I don't want to play that team in the playoffs if I make it. So I love the video that JL made in the video this week, though. It was pretty funny. But, yeah, man. Marcy says, I saw that video of T. Higgins. Not good. I don't know how much to make of it, but I was told I was sabotaging the league for intentionally tanking a team I just inherited, trading pieces and not putting top players in my lineup. Valid response, you think? Okay, so actually there's kind of 2 parts to this that I would go about. Sabotaging the league, I think you intentionally tanking is not bad. Trading pieces away to get draft capital and doing all that stuff, that's not bad. Benching highly projected players for bums to intentionally lose games, I don't love that. I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, the way that you combat that in a dynasty league, which hopefully your league is already doing that, is the draft picks are decided by max points for, not just points for, but max points for. So it accounts for the bench points that you score and some of the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too happy, you know, if I'm fighting for a playoff spot and somebody runs against you and you're starting, you know, Tank Bigsby when you could have started, you know, Saquon or some shit. Like, that would be a little bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie. But if there's nothing in the bylaws that says you can't do it, then you are fully allowed to do it. But that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I don't know. George says, what do we think with Devontae Adams' rest of season? Not sure what his trade value is and who should I go for more consistency. Not sure what his trade value is, to be honest. So I would say, you know, if you can move him, I'm still looking for guys in that like Chris Olave tier, the Zay Flowers type of tier. Like, if you can get those guys, maybe. But I think all of those guys are still kind of boom bust. We got a super chat in here from Hobart. Appreciate the super chat, man. It says traded Hurts, D-Hop, London for Jaden Reed, JSN, T. Higgins, 25 first, second, third, start 10, dynasty tiered PPR. What do we think? Okay, so here we go. We got Jalen Hurts, Hopkins, and London. We get Jaden Reed, JSN, T. Higgins, in a start 10 Dynasty tiered PPR. Now, here's the thing. If it's not super flex, which you didn't say super flex, so if it's not a super flex, I don't necessarily hate it. Jalen Hurts is probably the most talented player in the deal in a super flex format, but probably not in this type of format. Getting the first, the second, the third I don't care too much about. JSN, Jaden Reed, they're going to be good pieces for you. It feels like you got depth, and it feels like you might be kind of leaning towards getting younger. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting just looking at the deal. Is it a bad trade in a one quarterback? Probably not. Hopefully it's not super flex. If it's super flex, I do lean the Jalen Hurts side, but I don't think it is. So again, appreciate the super chat. Thank you for that. It means a lot. Where are we at with next question? Cody says, damn it, my Kittle question was Dynasty related. What was that question? Kittle question. How does a George Kittle owner play this out on Sunday? I don't think it changes for Dynasty, to be honest. How does you play it out on Sunday? I just keep playing the same way. Let's see. Would you rather have Drake and Bijan or... Oh, we already answered this one. I got Gibbs, Amari Cooper for my Ayuk and Najee. I like the Gibbs and Amari Cooper side. Pete says that was a Dynasty question, by the way. I figured it was. Just, you saying you're tanking and trading stuff. So, Mostert or Sharps, PPR, got 4 out this week, bench of 5. I'd rather go with Sharps this week. Sharp is the play for me, to be honest. Even if Kenneth Walker plays, I think Charbonnet is a better play than Mostert. I'm just Nick says, keep it up, Andrew. Appreciate you, Nick. Says, sold Bo Nix and QJ for Coleman, a 26 first and a second 10-team start 11 super flex. I don't hate it. You get to re-roll the dice on Bo Nix. You probably drafted Bo Nix in the second round, especially in a 10-team. You get Coleman first and second. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all, especially if you don't need the QB. So, not bad. Akshay says, start one flex, PPR, Jacobs, Tyreek, Deontay. I like Jacobs the most in this situation. I just think he's going to have a good week. But if you want full honesty, Tyreek is my last choice of these guys. George says, also with Adams out this week, do I flex Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, or Tyler Lockett? Half PPR. If Jordan Love plays, I think you go Christian Watson. If Jordan Love does not play, I lean Christian Kirk. Frankie says Moss or Reed this week. Same kind of situation. If Jordan Love plays, I go Jaden Reed. If he doesn't, I like Zach Moss. Zach Moss is actually a start of the week for me over on my channel. I like the matchup. Cool Man says, would you rather have Drake and Bijan? Brody, did you throw this in the chat like 5 times? Already answered that one. Appreciate you too. Just made a trade, gave away Achan, London, BTJ, and Mostert, and brought in JT, Dell, and Puka. W or L. Achan, London, BTJ, and Mostert. You brought in JT, Dell, and Puka. I think I would rather have the Achan, London, and BTJ side. So I'd rather have the giveaway side. So probably an L for me on this trade. Disease Kodak says, I'm 3-0. Sold Wilson for C-Mac to an 0-3 team that needed production last week. Whew. That is bold, my friend. I don't know if I could be buying Christian McCaffrey at the moment, but that's bold. I like it. I don't. You got more balls than me because I could not buy C-Mac at the moment. Eddie says, sup, man? Question, I'm still without A.J. Brown. I picked Shakir up from waivers. GOAT. Kittle is starting for me this week, but I have Juwan Jennings. Should I play Shakir and Jennings, or should I flex Akers? Well, to be honest, if you have Kittle starting for you this week, I'd be keeping an eye out on Debo because I don't mind you going with Shakir and Akers. I think Khalil Shakir and Akers is a fine to flex this week. I think Jennings, we all want to plug him into the lineups because of what he did last week. But the way that the depth chart is shaking out right now, like if Debo's back, Kittle's back, we're pulling Jennings out of the lineup. In fact, most likely if Debo and Kittle are healthy and Ayuk's on the field, we can throw Jennings back on the waiver wire. Like, I don't even think he's rosterable if those guys are all healthy. So, to be honest, I'm not throwing him in the lineup if those guys are healthy. Shakir should definitely be in your lineup. Luca says 4-point passing touchdown, start A-Rich or Fields, and PPR flex Moss or Amari. So I'd rather go with A-Rich than Fields. The PPR with flex for Moss or Amari, I think I'm going to go with Zach Moss, to be honest. Johnny Detroit says 12 team start 10. Super flex best ball PPR 2-point tight end premium Sam Darnold, or am I Ron Burgundy? Look, Sam Darnold, baby. Go. I have the jersey on the way. I got a Sam Darnold jersey on the way. DH gate that thing from China. That thing's coming in the mail. I'll have the Darnold jersey here next week, boys. I just pulled that off. What are we doing? Rate the squad in a 12-team PPR start 7. Start 7's crazy. Any trades moves to make Kyler, Jaden Daniels, Mason, JT, Gibbs, Najee, Braylon, Cooper, Neighbors, Cup, Nakua. I mean, the team seems good, man. The team seems fine. And then you have Ferg at the tight end. Yeah, it looks good. I think it's definitely closer to, I don't know if you want me to rate it out of a 10. Let's see. QB's good. Running back's good. I mean, you got some injuries right now, but let's say a 9 out of 10. Sharp, Juwan Jennings, Jaden Reed are steal. Pick 2 of them. I think Jaden Reed and Sharp if Walker doesn't play. If Walker plays, which I need to make sure that I'm up to date on that news, I would probably be going with Reed and Steele. But yeah, if Walker does not play, I'm definitely going Sharp over Steele. Brock Purdy or Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels. Which 2 should I start at wide receiver 2 and flex? Mike Evans, Garrett Wilson, Brian Robinson Jr. I think we're going B-Rob and Mike Evans this week, honestly. I think Garrett Wilson of those options can be left on the bench. Peyton says, got offered Jaden Daniels, B-Rob, and Ayuk for Achane, Jonathan Brooks, and CJ Stroud. Should I accept full PPR? I'm currently 0-3. I don't love it. I think I'd rather... That's tough, dude, because I think CJ Stroud is going to bounce back a little bit. But you're 0-3. You got to kind of shake it up. I don't mind making this move if you got to shake it up 0-3. I don't mind it. Jaden Daniels, B-Rob, and Ayuk should be all right. Where are we at? I just lost it. We got to Peyton. There we are. Ty says, thoughts on trading Zach Moss for Jordan Mason to have until Pacheco is back? I don't know if Pacheco's actually going to be back at full health ever this year. Honestly, if it's between Zach Moss and Jordan Mason, I think I'm going to just roll with Zach Moss and not buy Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's going to have more production, but for how long? We don't really know. They're talking about CMC wants to ramp back up, starting Monday. I don't know how long he's going to be out. That San Francisco situation is just tough. I think I'd rather just roll with Zach Moss. Guaca Flocka says 12 teams, start 9, 1 QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex. I am definitely a contender. Do I try to get CMC, Reek, possible 25 first round pick for Baker Mayfield, Dobbins, Deontay Johnson, Keon Coleman, or Khalil Shakir, 26 second round? Well, do you try and get those guys for Baker, Dobbins, Deontay, Keon Coleman? I'm assuming these are the trade packages. Of the 2 packages, I'd much rather give Khalil Shakir in a 26 second round pick. But I don't know if that's... I honestly, I don't really know how you're asking this question. Do I try and get CMC, Reek, and a possible 25 first-round pick for Mayfield? I'm going to have to ask you to – honestly, I want to answer this correctly, so I'm going to have to ask you to throw it back in the chat, but actually list out the trade packages. Like, don't just list a bunch of guys. Bryce says, do I trade Jaden Reed and ETN for Gibbs or Taylor? Jaden Reed and ETN for Gibbs or Taylor? I think I'd rather just have the Jaden Reed and ETN side. Hey, thoughts on this Dynasty Superflex 16-team trade? Dak and a mid-25 first or A-Rich and a 27 first. In a Dynasty, if you're a contender, there's the argument that you go Dak in the mid-25 first. But if you're not a strong contender in 16-team, I think you shoot the upside with A-Rich and a 27 first, honestly. So it's going to depend. If you're a contender, go the Dak side. If you're not a contender, go the other side. My team is Kyler, May, Darnold, Dalton. All right. Victor says, what's up, bro? Injuries frying me. Got Smith, Cup, and CMC. Anyway, need help with a flex, Brody. Full PPR. 12 teams, 2 flexes. Got Jerome Ford, Jacoby Myers, Christian Kirk, Scary Terry, J.K. Dobbins. Also, what's the other one? Also, Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen, Hopkins. Okay, so we got to pick 2 flexes. I think Jacoby Myers is in the flex with Devontae Adams out. And between the other guys, I think I'm going to go with Scary Terry. I think we go Jacoby Myers and Scary Terry. Eddie says, question, already played CeeDee Lamb, have Shakir, Juwan Jennings, and Akers. Kittle is my tight end. Would you play Jennings with Kittle out there or go with Shakir and Akers? I think we already answered this one. I would go with Shakir and Akers. Pete says it was changed to max points for after I didn't start Neighbors. Okay, so look, another issue here. You can't be making a change like that mid-season. Honestly, this sounds like the commissioner is not really with the shits. Like, it sounds like the commissioner is not. I wouldn't want to play with the commissioner like this because he doesn't have his ducks in a row, to be honest. And you not starting Neighbors is kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. That's crazy. But, yeah, it should have been max points for from the jump. But he can't change that mid-season. He has to do that in the offseason, make an amendment to your bylaws. You probably don't have bylaws, just the way that I think you have it set up right now. I don't know if you even have bylaws. But, yeah, I don't think that's cool to change that mid-year. Who would you try to get for Cup? Someone wants him. He has Rice, Lamb, Aaron Jones, Cook, Henry, McLaurin. I mean, if you're trading Cup, I think the only one of these options that you can even maybe get would be, and that I even want would maybe be James Cook. That would be who I'd ask for. I don't think you can get Rice and Lamb. And I'm not moving Cup for Jones or Henry. It's probably James Cook. He's probably the guy that you want. Frankie says, would you rather have Brian Thomas Jr. or Addison rest of season? Give me Addison. And look, I know that, I'm the Vikings guy, but that offense is humming, and Addison he's gonna eat. Jalen Naylor's been eating. Addison's gonna continue to eat. He'd be the guy that I want rest of season. Josiah says, go Pack, go. Skull, baby. You know what we gotta do. Whoop that ass this weekend. Lad Brooks, Michael Wilson, and a 2, or Bowers and Pollard. Honestly, if it's not tight end premium, I'd say you probably want Lad, Brooks, Michael Wilson, and a 2. But if it's tight end premium, it's no question Bowers to me. Johnny says, Andrew will read anything on the teleprompter, and I mean anything. Hey, I'd be trying to answer everything that hits up here. So, I don't know, man. TD Flip says, I don't know how I haven't been following the GOAT in the Idiot League Mates. What's good, big dog? What's good with you, man? Appreciate you being here. Glad you're finally here and came to the other side. I like it. What do we got? Hey, brother, best of luck this weekend in fantasy. Just a couple questions. Burrow or Daniels for start sit, and who would win between CD Moss for Jay Jetta's Mixon? Okay, so we got the 2-parter. So the first part of the question, Burrow or Daniels for the start sit? Give me Daniels. Between CD and Moss and Jettas and Mixon, give me the Jettas and Mixon side. TD Flip says 10-man, half PPR starters are Fields, Barkley, Achane. We go through with the rest of these starters. Should I drop anybody for Shakir? Love the GOAT Khalil Shakir. Am I dropping any of these folks? Honestly, the only one that I would even consider would be Njoku, but you probably... Yeah, I think, honestly, at this point, I would drop Njoku, and I would pick up Shakir, because I think you can just play Kincaid as your starting tight end every week. I don't feel like you have to have a backup tight end, so I would only roster the one tight end, drop Njoku, pick up Shakir. That's what I would do, personally. But I think he's the GOAT. You know, he just won me my week versus JMO. Isaiah says 12-team double flex. Team is QB, Kyler, Mixon, Singletary, Brooks, Jettas, Wilson, Ayuk, McLaurin. Would you try to move pieces for another running back too, or hold out? I mean, you got a lot of wide receivers. Honestly, if you can move like a McLaurin, I would move a McLaurin for like a Zach Moss if you can get it done. That's probably what I would be doing. One of those types of running backs. Where else are we? How would you go after Rashi with a team of Stroud, Gibbs, Kamara, Zay, Kupp, Rashad, White, Bucky, Dell? So if you want to get Rashi Rice, honestly, you probably got to come up off of in a redraft, I'm assuming. And this is for everybody underneath too. Like, if it's redraft or dynasty, please specify, because we got enough questions from both camps that it's tough for me to tell most of the time, and it saves time if I already know what the format is and the scoring and stuff like that. So please throw that in there. Team of Stroud, Gibbs. I think if you want a guy like Rashi, you got to come up off of a guy like Kamara or Gibbs if you want Rashi Rice at this point. So that's probably who you got to give up. TD says, took a QB late and traded Pollard and Evans for A.J. Brown. I got lucky with the late Rice pickup, hence the stack team other than QB. I mean, Rice he's a league-winning type of pick this year. This is one big trade I'm asking about. The CMC Reek 25 first trade is between me and one other league owner. I mean, if you can get CMC, Reek, and a 25 first in one trade, that's the side that you want as a contender. I think those pieces help you win in the second half of the year as a strong contender. Chris says, what wide receiver targets would you recommend in a 16-team, 1 QB, start 10? I'm a top 5 team with Allen, Achane, J. Jettas, AJ, Dell. What kind of wide receiver players are we looking for as trade targets? Let's look at a list. I'll tell you some guys that I like right now that I'd potentially be looking at. If you can pay up and get a guy like DK, I like DK. If you can get a guy like DJ Moore, I don't mind buying low on DJ Moore right now. I don't mind buying low on Jaden Reed. I don't mind potentially buying a guy like Jameson Williams after one bad game, or maybe a couple bad games because he has a tough matchup this week. And then Khalil Shakir is a guy that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. I think he's been very underrated. So those would be some guys. Sleeper says, full PPR. Should I start Christian Kirk, Michael Wilson, Lad McConkey, or Javonte Williams at my flex? I'm leaning Wilson since McBride is out. Also, would you rather start Darnold or Love at quarterback? Honestly, I'd rather start Darnold than Love at the moment. But I'm leaning Wilson since McBride is out. I don't mind the Michael Wilson play. It's between him and Christian Kirk for me based off of last week, but I think Michael Wilson's probably the play. Guacaflocka says he has a bunch of injuries and wants depth, plus a majority of his players are older, so he wants a couple young players. Sorry, I can't fit everything in. Hey, it's all good, dude. It's all good, like I said. But yeah, I mean, if you can make that type of deal, that makes sense. Is it worth starting Waddle? I mean, it depends on your other options, to be honest. If you have some of those other options, maybe, but it's tough trusting a guy like Waddle in the lineup. I guess another question for one running back, got Chuba, J.K. Dobbs, and Jerome Ford. Between these guys, I'm going with Chuba this week. Nick says, sick to my stomach about starting Garrett Wilson, brother. Have London Jennings, J-Mo, Shakir, playing my best friend this week and can't go 0-4. Brother. Sick to my stomach about starting Garrett Wilson. Honestly, the other options like Jennings, J-Mo, Shakir, I'm not benching Garrett Wilson for those guys. Between London and Wilson, it's close. I think I lean London over Wilson this week, personally. Matt says 10-team PPR, 1 out of 2. Should I start A.J. Brown if he plays or stick with wide receiver 2, Ayuk? If A.J. plays, you throw him in the lineup. Concerned AJ might be limited before the bye week. I think if he plays, you throw him in the lineup. That's just the way that I would approach it. If he's on the field, he's healthy enough to be on the field, and I'm rolling him out there. If not, there's no point in rushing him, because if he has the bye week, you get him to rest a little bit more. So if he's on the field, you throw him in. What do we got? Would you trade MHJ for Jordan Mason and Tyreek Hill? I think I'd rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. there, honestly. Caleb says, that's Bowers. I mean, if it's tight end premium, probably would have been Bowers. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Instead, I ended up trading Amari Cooper and Kamara for Hawkinson. My tight end is shit. And Michael Penix. Have a lot of picks upcoming, especially 26. And now I can tank either way. I mean, that makes sense. It makes sense. JCast says, are we benching T. Higgins? Look, I still have T. Higgins in my rankings this week. I still have him as like a low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3. He has a good matchup against Carolina. I think he's blowing smoke. I'm not putting too much weight into it. And then that would be what I would do. So I'm definitely going to be throwing Higgins into the lineup if he plays. I'm not. He says bench him. Whatever. I ain't listening to his ass. Maybe I should, but I ain't listening to his ass. Ruben says start 2. Goddard, Kittle, Najee. We're going to go with Goddard and Kittle, honestly. Johnny says add Anchorman to your watch list. Honestly, I've seen some of it, bits and pieces. I need to just watch the whole thing. TD Flip says dropping Njoku. Thank you, sir. Yeah, him winning you on that matchup made me remember he was on waivers, which is wild. Yeah, that's wild that he was even there. He's Josh Allen's number 1, man. He's Josh Allen's number 1. Trent says half PPR Shakir, Ford, Brian Thomas. Give me Shakir. Chris says, if you were to choose one player, non-rookie, that you wish you'd invested more, who would it be? Minus Kyler? Good question. I invested in a lot of Kyler this offseason. I pumped up Kyler a lot this year. I think if there's one player, not a rookie, that I wish I invested more in, I'm going to answer both questions, honestly, because I said yesterday in our group chat, I just simply didn't draft enough Malik Neighbors. I didn't get as aggressive about Malik Neighbors. I didn't have a lot of early picks, so I was like drafting in the end of the first rounds, but I should have traded up. I should have got Malik Neighbors by all means necessary. I wish I had more of him. But that being said, with the non-rookie, I wish I bought that Rashee Rice dip every single league. Because people were giving him away, it felt like at times. I wish I bought so much more Rashee Rice than I had. I got him in some places. Like, I got enough of him to feel comfortable about it, but I wish I got all the Rashee Rice. So he would be the guy that I wish I got more of. What do we got here? Would you trade Amon-Ra for Rice, Higgins, redraft PPR? I'm 3-0. To be honest, it's close enough if you need depth, but it doesn't sound like you need depth because you're already 3-0. Just give me Amon-Ra. If you need depth, I don't mind Rice and Higgins side, to be totally real with you. Start 2 PPR, Akers, Worthy, Ridley, Worthy, or Kirk. It's the other one. So we're Akers, Worthy, Ridley, or Kirk. Start 2. I'm going to Akers and... between these folks, what are we doing? I guess Kirk would be... Johnny would say never start Kirk, but I think for me it would be Akers and Kirk. Johnny also says never trade Amon-Ra. Maybe. You should. I flex Moss or Flowers. Or should I flex Moss or Flowers? Moss. Moss is who I'd go with this week. Is me giving Wilson plus Godwin for Jay Jettas in PPR overpaying? I don't think so. I I think he's probably worth it. But if you need the depth, you could argue that the other side is more valuable, being able to plug both of those guys into the lineup each week. But I think Jay Jetta's, obviously, he's still worth it to me. Sit one between JSN, Jacoby Myers, Christian Watson. If I'm sitting one, I'm sitting Christian Watson. Would you trade Kittle for Amari Cooper? I think I'd rather have Kittle. I think he's the better player there. Flowers or Garrett Wilson? Give me Garrett Wilson. I'm sick. I got to start Wilson, Ayuk, or Jacoby Myers this week. Start Wilson. Concerned with Chris Olave's injury. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for sure. Am I concerned? I don't know how much we know about it really yet. If he doesn't practice, actually, he's not even going to get another practice in this week. So I guess he's going to be a true game time. That being said, am I concerned? Yeah, it's a little bit concerning. You don't want to see the hamstring injury going into the week. Traded Ayuk for him earlier this morning. It's not ideal, but I don't know. I have him in a league. I'm kind of expecting, I'm preparing as if I'm not going to have Olave this week. I feel like he might not play. Is Cordy P a serious flex play this weekend against Indianapolis? I think he might be flexible with Warren out. KJ says, my tight end situation is pretty gross. Should I pick up and play Elijah Higgins for a spot start this week, dropping Noah Fant? That's just gross. Would you rather? I'd like to know who the other tight ends on your waivers are, because I do think Noah Fant's probably better than Elijah Higgins this week. But I'd like to know who some of the other guys are, because I feel like there might be some better options out there. Austin says 12-team Superflex Dynasty. He's a rebuilding team. Penix an early mid-25 first for Dak and Ladd. Also, any tips for selling players off when trying to tank? No one will give up picks even when they win the trade. Okay, so when it comes to Penix and an early to mid-25 first for Dak and Ladd, I would rather have the Dak and Ladd side. That has more value on that side. Any tips for selling players off? I think you just got to start targeting injuries, guys who get, contending teams who get injuries. Maybe the team's a contender and they have Puka. You have a wide receiver, you can sell them for a first or a second round pick. That's what I would be trying to target. You find the need, you find the contenders, and then you just make that happen. Other than that, you just got to keep taking shots. There's really no rhyme or reason to it, but you got to keep taking shots and just be active in that league and keep trying. Guys will eventually start wanting to go in. We're only in week 4, so, not everybody's trying to go all in yet. People will eventually start doing that. So just keep taking those shots. Super chat from Jay Cass. Jay, appreciate you, bro. He says Gesicki versus Kincaid this week. Thanks. This is fun. Kincaid would be the play for me. I know that Baltimore defense is tough, but I'm still going with Kincaid this week. So appreciate you for the super chat, Brody. What else we got? George, do you view Joe Mixon as a top 10 back rest of season when healthy? I think anybody who's playing running back in that Houston offense is going to be good, and Joe Mixon is super talented. Is he a top 10 back? I think he's a running back 1 the rest of the way if he's healthy. So that's the if. If he's healthy the rest of the way, sure, I think he's going to be great. Am I the only one who thinks this is going to be another boom week for Amari Cooper against a depleted Raiders team? I'm starting him over Garrett Wilson. He could boom this week. It's boom bust Amari. That's kind of what he is up to this point, but it could definitely be another boom week. Matt says 10-team PPR, 1 out of 2 redraft. You're starting Stevenson and Hubbard. Bench these guys with Laporte on buying week 12. Who should I drop to pick up Darnold to start? Pick up Darnold to start over AR-15. Are we starting Darnold over AR this week? Are we actually legitimately doing that? Do my rankings say that? My rankings do not say that. My rankings say that I would be starting Anthony Richardson over Darnold. So I don't know if I would be dropping anybody, but if you want to pick up Darnold and start him, if you're sick of the experience, I don't really want to drop any of those guys. Honestly, I'm not dropping anybody. I'm just starting A Rich. That's what I'm doing. So I can't tell you who I would drop because I wouldn't drop anyone. What's the scariest player you bought at the low dip in their career, whether it was because of injuries, legal situations, or just been playing bad? What's the scariest player you bought at a low dip in their career? Like somebody I regret in that aspect? Are we talking about it's scary that I bought them because of that? I bought some Bryce Young this offseason thinking that he was being sold low. You know, bad year, new coach, Canales coming in. I bought some Bryce Young some places. That sucked. Definitely not going to get the return on my investment on Bryce Young there. Who else did I buy because of like scary situations? I mean, just the most recent would have been Rashi, but I wasn't super worried about Rashi. I would say also I traded for some Kareem Hunt a couple years back when he had the off the field issue in Kansas City that got him cut. I traded for some Kareem Hunt, things like that. But I think the one that I regret the most is trying to buy low on bad play of Bryce Young. I also bought low on Justin Fields, and that looked scary for a minute because I was like, damn, he didn't even beat out Russell Wilson for the starting job, and then Russ got injured. So, you know, I guess it worked out in the long run. Fell says PPR, Aaron Jones or DJ Moore. Give me Aaron Jones. Chris T says rate my squad. $100 buy-in. Stroud, Barkley, HN, love it. DK, Olave, Ferguson, James Conner. I flip Godwin and Ayuk for DK and Olave. Okay. I like the squad. Either way, I think I would have rather had Godwin and Ayuk than DK and Olave. I think I like it even more with Godwin and Ayuk on the squad. But it's still a great squad. 12-team, $100 buy-in. You should have a chance at winning some money, hopefully. Andre says, if I did the Jay Jettas trade, my receivers would be Jamar Chase, Jay Jettas, Olave, Ridley, BTJ. Are you doing that trade? Yes. Santiago. Jonathan. My bad, bro. He says, any sneaky waiver wire pickups this week? Got an open slot on my bench. If you're looking for plug-and-play starts, like I think guys like Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, those guys are decent pickups this week. If you're looking for potentially just stashes, get sneaky on something, target handcuff running backs, man. If you got the extra spot, target some handcuff running backs. A Tyler Algier in case of Bijan injury. You know, just things like that. Try and find the Roshan. I'd plug Roshan. If he's still on the waiver wire in your league, he's definitely a guy I'm picking up and stashing this week. Anybody, Tajay Spears, whatever. Like I'm looking for handcuff running backs to potentially hold and see if there's an injury that happens during the week if you have the extra space. But if you're looking for spot starts, I like those Arizona receivers. Laporta or Goddard? Give me this week specifically Goddard. Likely Strange and Taysom Hill are on waivers. Okay, I like Likely the most of the guys on waivers there. Kyle says, need a replacement for Adams. Would you go Bucky Irving, Keenan Allen, or Worthy? Give me... Do we have official word that Keenan's going to play? I think he's still questionable, right? If Keenan plays, he's the guy. If not, I think you just go with Bucky Irving. But if Keenan plays, you plug him in. Denver says, what should I do with Jalen Waddle right now? Should I trade him or try to keep him and see if he gets any more value? Well, if you can afford to hold him, he's definitely a hold, because when Tua is back, which I do think that Tua will be back, he's definitely going to increase in value. So if you can afford to hold him, you hold him. If you are 0-3 or you're going to be 0-4 at the end of the week and you need wins, I'd consider selling low and just getting guys that you can plug in and give you some production. But I'd hold him if you can, to be honest. What do I do with ETN? Trade or keep? I still like ETN. I think some people are panicked on ETN. I still like him, but it depends on what you can trade him for. But I still like him. I have AR, Darnold, and Geno Smith and don't know who to start. The highest in my rankings this week at the quarterback position, assuming you are playing in a 4-point passing touchdown, is Geno Smith. I have him the highest out of all those guys. That game against Detroit is going to be good. Chris says, what's your view on Wan'Dale in redraft? You think he can be a buy low wide receiver 2 rest of the season? Look, he's a PPR monster. He's not doing a ton with the usage, but he's getting the usage, and that's what you want to see. So he's definitely somebody you could probably buy low on and add to your team. We made a video this offseason actually talking up Wan'Dale Robinson on the channel. You can go look. It's like one of the most recent YouTube shorts. We were saying that Wan'Dale was definitely worth an ad in Dynasty leagues, and he's lived up so far to a little bit of the expectation that we had. I expected a little bit of a breakout this year. Cody says Tyreek's value in 2019 was super low because of the off the field. Yeah, that's another one. Another one of those. Start 2 wide receivers, Evans, Jennings, London, JSN. Evans and London for me. Steve, who should I trade for a solid running back? My wide receivers are Brown, Waddle, Pittman, Jason, Worthy, Jamo, and Yoshavash. Who should you trade? I mean, I would say if you can get any type of decent running back for Michael Pittman, he's the guy I'm selling because I do not like what I see out of Michael Pittman at the moment. He's a guy that I'm selling and getting off the squad. So if you can get anything decent, I'm selling Michael Pittman. Chris says, I don't know, dude. Feel like Godwin's production is going to go down, and Ayuk is never going to get any better with Debo and Kittle coming back soon. And Ayuk is never going to get any better. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Godwin's production, it could go down a little bit, but he's been like a top 10 wide receiver, and I think his production does get better, to be honest. Tingley says, pick 2, BTJ, Christian Kirk, DeMarcus, Michael Wilson for this week. Michael Wilson and BTJ for me. And we are at about the hour mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed through these last couple questions. So I'm going to speed through them. We'll get to them. And then at about an hour, we're going to end this thing. So if you have any final questions, throw them in the chat. If you have made it to this point in the video and you're still watching, hit the like button for me. It is the best free way to show this channel some support. So make sure you hit that like button for me. Would love to see us cross, 30, 35 likes if we can get to that. But we'll speed through these last couple questions here, folks. Sosa says, would you try and ship off Garrett Wilson with the gauntlet of the schedule he has rest of the season? I would. If you can get anybody in that top tier, the upper echelon, I'm definitely moving him for that. Who should I start in my number 2 wide receiver? Addison, Mooney, Michael Wilson, and who would you start at the flex? Well, the number 2 wide receiver in those would be Addison for me. Who would you start at the flex? Javonte, Michael Wilson, Addison, Mooney. I think Michael Wilson. Actually, I think Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney and Addison would probably be the 2 plays for me. Jonathan says, thinking of a handcuff running back, got deep benches, so between Justice Hill, Trey Benson, and maybe Tyler Beatty. Trey Benson would be the guy that I would pick up and stash. If you have the stash for the week, Trey Benson is the guy, because he's the guy that I think if something happens to Connor, Benson should get the first crack at this, so he would be the stash for me. Austin says, thoughts on having Mahomes, Marvin Harrison Jr., Waddle, and Dell in a dynasty rebuild. I have 425 first. Well, yeah, that's what you want. You want to build around young guys like this. So I would feel very good if that was my future that I was building around. Andre says, as a Packers fan, I cannot wait for this game Sunday, bro. Aaron Jones revenge game. It's going to be insane. Dude, I hope it's a good game. I hope it's high scoring. I hope Aaron Jones does get some revenge, obviously. I want to see a Lambeau leap. Hopefully the fans there are welcoming and they, want to let him do a Lambeau leap. I think that would be really cool, just to let him do it again in Lambeau. But who knows, man? Hopefully it's a good game. I want the Vikings to stay undefeated, obviously. What do we got here? Frankie says, pick 2 flex, full PPR, JSN, Pollard, Stevenson, BTJ. Give me Pollard and I think Pollard and JSN would be my 2. Half point PPR, flex 1, Ford, Steele, or Amari Cooper. Pick 1. We're going to go with Amari Coop. Marcus says, thank you. Thank you, Marcus, for being here. Appreciate it, bro. Half Track says, if Olave is out, do you flex Shaheed, Kirk, or Ken Walker? If Ken Walker plays, you play him. If he doesn't play, you go with Shaheed for sure. Brett says, PPR, I'm 3-0. I have Rice, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Collins at wide receiver. Have K9, Moss, Irving, and Pacheco on IR. Should I package Collins and Moss for Bijan? No, I would stay put. I would stay with what you got. I think that your team is great. Smitty says, would you play Jennings if Debo is out but Kittle plays? I would still play him as a flex play, but I wouldn't be expecting a ton out of him. But I would like him more than like playing a guy like Dortch or playing a guy like Michael Wilson. Andre says, bro, you know our fans. If he goes for a Lambeau lead, they're going to throw beer. And I think Jefferson is going to have a monster game, not going to lie. Well, hopefully Jair plays. I want to play your best, but I hope you guys aren't assholes to Aaron Jones. He's going to Lambeau leap. They're going to get him in the end zone. He's going to Lambeau leap. Smitty says, I'm 0-3. I need a win. Yeah, I mean, if Debo's out, you can still play Jennings for the upside. Joshua, appreciate you being here, bro. He says, I got offered Wilson and JSN for Rice and Moss. I said no. Should I take the deal? No, I would say no as well. I like Rice and Moss more. Brandon says, full PPR, A-Rich or Justin Fields at QB, and a Dunze or Christian Kirk at the flex. I think I'm going Justin Fields over A-Rich, and a Dunze or Christian Kirk, I'm going a Dunze. Thank you. I was iffy on it, but I think my wide receiver trio can carry me. I think they will, man. Chris says the top two teams that pose a threat have Rashi and Tyreek as wide receivers, and the other team has Neighbors and Collins. So I don't know. I was trying to see if I could switch up the wide receiver core and match up to them. I think you're fine where you're at. Guaca Flocka says, keep up the great work, Playboy. Appreciate you, man. I really do. Thank you. Andre says, I made an awful trade before week 1, dog. I traded James Cook and Rice for Pacheco, Olave, and it's haunting me. Yikes. Ouch. Happens, bro. Happens. Johnny says Malik equals QB1 this week. Please, God damn it. There's actually no, Brody. All right, whatever, Johnny. You hate. You almost got a reaction out of me, bro. He says, I'm thinking about offering John, Taylor, and DK. John, like, who the hell is John? Oh, Jonathan Taylor. What the all right, Jonathan Taylor and DK for Ayuk and Bijan. Give me Jonathan Taylor and give me the... It's fair either way. I think Taylor and DK has more upside at the moment. So that's probably the side that I lean. But it's very, very close. You could go either way on that one. But that is the last question, folks. So I appreciate you guys all being here today. Actually, just a couple of them all came in here. All right. These are the last questions, folks. When I get back to the bottom, we're done. Johnny says, LOL, love you, bro. Appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you, even though you like to give me shit. I like to give you shit, too. Brandon says, appreciate you, Andrew. Love everything you and BDG is doing. Keep it up, baby. Appreciate you, Brandon. You're the GOAT. Sean says, I got a Dunze, Shakir, and Zach Moss. Who to start at flex and who at wide receiver? A Dunze would be the play, and Zach Moss would be the play. And then final one, full PPR. Should I start Purdy or Mayfield? Start Purdy. That's the move for me. So like I said, folks, that is everything. Thank you for being here for another Friday Q&A. As always, if you want to support the channel, if you fuck with the content, which I hope you do. If you hung out with us here for the night, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, do all that good stuff for us. Trying to keep growing this thing, man, more and more each and every week. Going to try and take this to the moon, man. So I appreciate you guys more than you know. But that's it for me, folks. So I will see you tomorrow. We're going to draft some underdog teams at about 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to hop in, do that. Hop in. Let's do that together. And start sits on Sunday morning per usual. But that is it for me tonight. So I will see you on the next episode. Until then, though, peace out.